Larry. Larry.
We're live, Jeff.
Bueller.
Can anybody see me? No? Can you hear me?
Okay. Technical problems. Everybody gets a live look into what happens at IMS Radio behind the scenes every week, 5 minutes before we go on.
Jeff, we're live.
Usually,
Jeff, we're live.
Usually we get it worked out before we go live. Not this week. Not this week. Everybody's laughing. Hey, everybody.
Well, I mean, look. At first, I thought it was like, okay, well, we're apparently contractually obligated to only have two of us here at a time now. You know, when Jeff was trying to fix this thing, but he got on in time, so all is well.
We see two
what?
Jeffs now.
Oh, now we're getting Jeff's clone. Yeah, your computer's trying to join too.
I'm not sure which one we want to add to the stage. We'll add that one. There we go.
You're living everyone's dream right now.
You can't have too many Jeff Ermans, right?
Maybe I can.
Oh my God.
Maybe I
That
can.
was absurd.
Maybe I can edit this in post and make it look not.
I have not smoked in many years, but I think I need a cigarette after that.
We have people coming at us from many different platforms. We can see that. So just so you guys know, Jeff, you got to mute. And put in headphones, Jeff.
I'm going to leave. I'm just going to go to bed, and if you guys could do the show, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll just handle all the expert commentary. No problem.
Mute yourself except when you're talking. When Ty comes on. Yeah, we have Ty Felton coming, so that's where we're sticking around. Also, the comedy of watching us.
Yeah, I'll just handle all the expert commentary. No problem. Mute yourself except
Jeff. Mute yourself.
My laptop just rebooted it, and it wouldn't mute. I think we're good. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, a lot of people on Facebook are watching. We can see that. A lot of people on Twitter. I don't know about Twitch right now. I don't know about.
Trust me, it'll get better than this.
Great first impression I'm making on that. That's for sure.
Yes. And to whoever was asking about my mouth, thank you. It's much better. Let me just public service announcement. Don't get your wisdom teeth cut out at age 43. Just bad idea, genes.
I did it at 49 last year, so I know.
You understand then, dude.
I do.
That sucked. But we're on the mend. I was actually able to successfully chew brisket today, so I was very excited about that.
That's nice. Had some brisket today too.
There you go. Smart man.
Yeah.
250 barbecue, dude. Live and die by that place.
Hammer Down Barbecue by my place.
Well, we might have to have a barbecue off. Could roll with that.
Yeah. I have to go to one. We'll be like, what's his name? The Portnor guy does the pizza reviews. We'll just do barbecue reviews.
That's fine. That was all we did in Austin when we went on that trip. We just ate at barbecue places like every meal of the day. Which
I went back to when I was in Austin this summer, and it was insane. One of the best things I've ever eaten in my life.
Yep. Anyway, hey, so we're 5-0 and
5-0, and Ty Felton. One of the big reasons they're 5-0 is going to be joining us.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns for my guy last week. I mean, and boy, was that first drive just a statement of intent, wasn't it? Right? Big long play to Ty Felton, touchdown pass right afterwards. Boom, boom, done. That's how we like it.
I wasn't able to watch it live because I was down in North Carolina. It was Parents' Weekend. But I did go to the Elon, William, and Mary game. And Elon upset number 4, William Mary. That was nice. But I was following on my phone. I watched as many replays as I could. I read through the game thread on the message board, the Maryland.247sports.com message board. So I got it all that way. And would you say the most dominant performance they've had so far this year?
Yeah, I think top to bottom. I mean, the only points they really gave up, were early on. And, I'm not counting the 2 touchdowns towards the end of the game when they're, throwing second and third stringers in there. I mean, clearly the game was over. They had threw their backup quarterback in, who actually looked better than the other kid, but that's their problem. I don't know. It was a much more thorough game. I think Loxley talked about that after the game, the fact that he's been a little grumpy after some of these early wins, and for good reason. I think you enjoy the wins, but you also realize when a team is not playing a full game. I think Indiana's the first time it was pretty clear they played an actual full football game. I'm not going to get mad about second and third stringers giving up a couple touchdowns that were meaningless at the end. Otherwise, I'm a little concerned about the running game. I'm a little concerned about the pass rush. These are not things that, we weren't expecting as the season goes along. And if they're not able to take their shot at Ohio State, those are going to be the reasons why, I suspect. But the passing game is humming. And I think there was a good debate this week on the message boards at Maryland.247sports.com about whether Talia had taken a next step or not. I was not necessarily in that crowd saying that he did, just because the competition has been so low. But when you just look at the way the offense is working out the pass game, especially, I mean, they really seem like they're on point. If we can get rid of a few of those drops, I really can't think of any way they could be better than they have in the first 5 games of the season.
Yeah, I agree. You can't ask for better than 5-0 and winning every game. What's the smallest margin of victory? 18, something like that.
Yeah, something
They're
like
only
that.
one of 3 teams in the country who've done that. I know the schedule is bad, but in years past, it was other teams who were 5-0 beating up Maryland, and they were the ones who got the 5-0 by beating no one. Maryland's not that anymore. Maryland's doing it to them now. So there should be some credit given for that. Schedule's not great, yes, but Michigan State, I don't care that they're down. 2 years ago, the argument about Maryland was who's going to be able to forge ahead for the 5th spot in the Big Ten East Division, Maryland, Indiana, or Rutgers. That's not even a question anymore. Now Maryland has beaten Michigan State 2 years in a row and seemingly is the better program the last 2 years, and maybe even going forward, we don't know what's going to happen with their situation. But right now you got to side with Maryland. They're the ones doing it to other teams now. They get credit for that. It doesn't matter that the other teams are bad or down. Maryland's not.
Yeah, you can only play who's on your schedule, right? And Michigan State, for all of their troubles, went to Kinnick last week and played Iowa pretty tough. So I don't think they're a total pushover either.
Yeah.
5-0 against some bad teams is still 5-0. It's college football. And what do we talk about every year? How do we get to 6, right? It is October 4th, and we have a chance to get to 6 in a couple days. So Maryland's own schedule, just because the schedule happened to finally lighten up for them right as they've got a senior quarterback and a lot of skill guys who can make plays. I mean, you just take that and be happy, right? So take your shot at the big boys. You got to try and knock one off. But even if you don't, you win the games you're supposed to win. You're looking at possibly a 9-3 season. Who's not taking that, right? Yeah. So I think we were right to be skeptical early on because the competition was so bad and they had those slow starts. But the last 2 weeks in conference play with a road game mixed in there as well, I don't know how you can't feel pretty good about where Maryland is at. That doesn't mean they're going to necessarily go 10-2 or 11-1. But when I look back at how they've got here, I mean, they couldn't really have done much more given the teams that they played.
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
best
To Larry's point,
stuff.
like they've potentially moved to a new, they moved to a new neighborhood. They're not in they're not in the $2 million home neighborhood, but they've moved into, they've leveled up. The question is, above like the Indianas and the Rutgers. Question is, well, there's two questions. Can they stay there? Can they, after this year, if Talia's gone and you lose other guys and things like that, is this who they are now, or is this a blip? And then the other question is, like, for this year, less long term, how good are they? I said it last week, I think. I mean, I don't ever recall a team where after literally half of the season, because they're almost halfway through the season, where you really had no idea how good they are at all. Like, that they're a good team. They're better than the teams they've had recently for the most part. They're not a bad team, but we have no idea if they're just a team that beats the teams they're better than and loses to, the others, or if they're really a legit 9 or 10 win team, that can upset one of those top three, as we always talk about, and then win the games like the road game at Nebraska and other games that are tougher than they look because they're on the road. So those are the questions. If they can sustain this, if they're like, officially have just moved past those other programs and maybe move past Michigan State, at least till they get their stuff figured out, then that, you can't ask for much more than that considering how things have gone the past 10 years.
Yeah, I think there's a couple potentials here. Like if they can go knock Ohio State off or give them a real game this week, you could be looking at a team that could really fight for this conference. If that doesn't work out, but they play them close, maybe you could be looking at one of those Ralph years like the 2002s or 2003s where, they end up maybe losing to the teams, the big dogs, but still put up 10 wins. So there's a lot of places you can go with this.
And our guest has just joined us, Ty Felton. We're going to add him to the room. There he is. Mr. 3-touchdown scorer, Ty Felton. What's going on, baby?
Nothing much. What's going on? How are you?
That was a beautiful game. What does it feel like when you're in a zone like that, scoring catching everything in sight, scoring 3 touchdowns? Everything was working. What's it like when you're in a zone like that?
Man, it feels great. It's definitely a good feeling, but at the end of the day, I'm just happy we got the win. So at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So, yes, sir.
Ty, what's the vibe of the team right now? How excited are you guys to go into Ohio State 5-0 with, a world of possibilities in front of you?
It's very exciting. This is kind of like you don't really get this opportunity every week. So this is a very exciting opportunity. We're ready to go out there and play a hard game and just we believe in ourselves. So we're ready to go out there and play a hard game and compete.
So, Ty, it's Wednesday. I imagine you've been able to look at a little Ohio State film at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see in terms of their secondary, the stuff they do on defense, and what are you guys going to be looking to do out there?
As we all know, they're a pretty good team. They have a very good pass rush. They have some guys in the secondary that's been there for a long time. They have some experience. They have some new guys, but I've seen some close coverages, some man-to-man stuff. So as the week goes by, I'll get to learn the details more and stuff from coaches. But they're a good team. We all know that, but we'll be ready to compete on Saturday.
We're speaking with Ty Felton, junior wide receiver out of Stonebridge in Ashburn, Virginia. I want to ask you about Ashburn, Virginia, because you're a neighbor. I'm from South Riding. I live in South Riding.
Gotcha. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So,
30 minutes away. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Less, maybe. It depends on where we are. But what I want to ask you about is a lot of good football players in Northern Virginia in the conference out here. How do we get more of them interested in Maryland? You're pretty rare breed going to Maryland from Northern Virginia. How do we get more of those players there?
One, we got to start by getting them just to visit out Maryland. I don't think guys realize how close Maryland is compared to the UVAs, the Virginia Techs, and the JMU. I think Maryland's 45 minutes, an hour away from my house, and then the other schools are like 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So this kind of realizing the proximity of home it is, and just kind of the program's on the rise. This is a top program in the area, probably has been the top program in the area for the last 3 years compared to other schools. So just knowing that you have a home that's right there, that's the top school and that's on the rise. So yes, sir.
Tell us, what was different for you last week? Was there anything, like a specific coverage or something you saw? Was it just Talia finding you? Like, what do you think kind of went into your breakout game?
I wouldn't say there would be nothing that was too much of a difference or anything that I was surprised about. I had a very good week of practice. The team had a very good week of practice. So kind of just how hard we practiced and our attention to details, that kind of just ended up being the outcome of the game. And Saturday was my day to make plays. I ended up making a play, so it was just a good feeling, and then you just got to keep practicing hard.
Hey, Ty, so you've been here for most of Lox's tenure. He's been a little grumpy after those wins the first couple weeks. Did it feel in the locker room like you got it? Like, hey, we put up a big number. We got down early. We had some poise. We had some resilience, but we got to get better. Like, are you able, when you're listening to the coach after you put up 45 saying, hey, this isn't good enough for the standard? Like, does that get through to you guys? You kind of like, hey, man, give us a break. We just put up 45. Like, how does that come across to you guys? And are you guys kind of on the same page in terms of where you're at as to plan to what you feel like your level is versus who the opponent is?
We completely understand every game because we feel like, well, our standard is very high and we know what we're capable of doing, and the sky's the limit for us. As you guys can see, when the offense is clicking, we feel like nobody can stop us. So just kind of going in and practice, and coaches, they know what we can do. They know our ability. So, Coach, I wouldn't say he's too grumpy, but I would just say he knows our capability, and he wants us to do our very best out there. So we fully understand, and at times we agree with him 100%. But at the end of the day, it's about what we do and just keep trying to compete and play at that standard every day.
Hey, Ty, this is the first game where you guys are going into the game as an underdog. Every other game you've been a big favorite, double-digit favorite in most of them. How does that change the way you look at the game? Does it change your preparation for the game? Anything? Or do you just treat it like normal?
Of course, we got to treat it like normal. At the end of the day, every week is an exciting opportunity because it's a new opponent and a new week. So we just got to treat it like normal and not try to think too much of the game and try to just keep our details and keep everything the same and just keep playing and then go out there and get a W like we do every week.
You've been around for a good chunk of this, probably the latter 2/3 of this rebuild that Lox has, been working on. What's the biggest difference you've noticed kind of behind the scenes, just among the team culture and the attitude?
I would just say that off the field, how close the team is off the field. You got receivers hang out with safety, D linemen hang out with O linemen. It's just the off the field and how close we are together and how much we gel together. I mean, this offseason we spent a lot of time together, going through off-season workouts, going through some adversity off-season workouts, spending time together off the field, hanging out, playing video games together, eating out together. So I feel like the off-the-field gel that we brought together really helped us on the field because it makes you want to push for your brother more. So I would say that's one of the main things that really helped us.
You're hanging out with safeties? What the hell is that all about, man?
Yeah. me and Dante train both. Those are my guys off the field. But in practice, we go head-to-head every day. But those are definitely my guys 100%.
Okay. All right, last question. I know you got somewhere to go. So I wanted to ask what the differences for you are in terms of what you're seeing, what you're doing on the field from what Coach Eno's had you do in the last couple of years versus Coach Gaddis. Like, what are some of those things that have been tweaked and changed a little bit in that change?
Well, Coach Gaddis, it's a little bit more reading coverage and kind of seeing what the quarterback sees. So, with Coach Gaddis, whatever leader sees, we have to be able to see it to be able to convert our route or be able to just go out there and execute the play. So it's just kind of knowing the field, having a good football FBI and football information, and kind of just knowing what you're doing before you go out there.
So you got a lot more option stuff this year than just kind of you guys having to make the same reads?
Right, yes, sir. A lot more option stuff, yes, sir.
Hey, Ty, we end every interview with a game called Fill in the Blank. I'm going to ask you 5 rapid-fire questions. You say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Gotcha, yes, sir.
The fastest wide receiver on the team is?
Ty Felton.
Yeah, I thought you might say that, whether it's true or not. All right. The player who may not be getting a ton of playing time this year, but will be huge next season will be?
Shalik Knox.
The guy on the team you wouldn't want your sister to date is?
That's a hard one, but I'll go with light-skinned man, Jay Sean Jones. Send a light-skinned date your sister.
Okay.
Hey, I'll throw Caden Proctor in there too. That's one guy. Yeah, he can't.
I gotta stay away from Prather. All right.
Yeah, stay away from Prather. Maybe even more than Jay Sean.
All right. All right. The biggest players coach on the team is
Robert Smith.
Okay. The best Terps wide receiver of all time is
Stephon Diggs.
Good answer. Easy answer. Ty.
Yeah. Hey, so that's another guy who had 3 touchdowns this weekend. So you're in good company.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We asked one more thing if everybody comes on the show. Could you do us a favor and say, this is Ty Felton, and you're listening to IMS Radio?
This is Ty Felton. You're listening to IMS Radio.
Thank you, Ty. Good luck against Ohio State.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Man. Go beat
Thanks,
that
Ty.
ass, all right?
Yes, sir. We will. Yes, sir.
See?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, take it easy.
Ty Felton, good guy.
Good time.
Huge
I like
game
that,
last
Larry.
week.
You added a new wrinkle with the sister question. I like that.
I think
That was a
I
good
asked
one.
that many years ago. I don't remember. I mean, we've been doing it for 10 years, so it's hard not to rehash some stuff sometimes.
You probably asked it of somebody who was just like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
And then you just throw it in the trash for a while. But you got to dig it back out.
He threw out two of them.
I like that. Two of his boys in the receiver room,
No,
too.
he threw him under the bus.
Damn. I like that.
I'm not surprised at Jay Sean Jones, right? Confident dude. Just kind of marches the beat of his own drum.
He also said Caden Prother, not Prather.
Yeah. But I said
That's crazy.
Prather, and he said Prather back. So
Did
it
he?
might have just been a mix-up. But
Yeah.
I do want to shout out Jay Sean. He's had exactly 0 personal fouls so far this season.
I still don't.
He was flirting.
He probably
flirted with one a few
He
weeks
was
ago.
close. Yes.
I was gonna say he probably should have had one, but we're not. But it wasn't called. It's fine.
Wasn't called. So just don't do it. I saw him turning around, like talking to the guy, and it looked like he was going to throw the football in his face. And I was like, no. And he threw it to the ref instead. And I'm like, okay, he's getting back.
He might have turned around and stared at him and said, "Have a nice day." Like he might have.
You know what? There's some guys in sports who have a certain edge, and you just have to let them play with it because otherwise, they're not themselves. It takes away like Rasheed Wallace, guys like that, where you just got to let them kind of
cook.
Do them. And I think he's one of those guys, man. He's just definitely not to say Locke just lets him do what he wants. He was clearly extremely irritated when he didn't run out of bounds before half. As soon as I saw the clock ticking down and him kind of start to go out of bounds, and then he saw some open field and went YOLO, I knew Locke was going to be irate.
Yeah.
That's what they were going for. And they totally worked. They were going to get the ball at the 50 or the 40 and have a chance, or closer actually, maybe have a chance to kick the field goal. So, but you know what? That led to one of the funniest halftime interviews in a while. So it's all good, right?
Yeah,
And the smile.
I mean, dude, first of all, like with that play, like he clearly could have made it to like the 35 or the 33 and got out of bounds and still had enough time left. So like with Howe's leg, that was a legit thing that could have happened. But dude, that was the greatest halftime interview I think I've ever seen in my life. And Locke's just, he was seething.
It was the
because I was waiting for everybody to be like, "Oh, Lux is an idiot. You should have, called them for him to get out of play." And I'm like, dude, he clearly did. And then Jay Sean clearly saw that open field and was like, I'm going for it.
It's
and
when
pointing out
she
blocks and stuff.
When she said, you got to leave with a smile or whatever she said. And he's like, he did the fake smile thing. He's like, what an idiot. And he walked off.
He was so mad. God, that's so funny.
Reminded me of my interview with Durkin. When he
Yeah.
did that to me.
Oh, that was God. I was so full of just cringe and awkwardness while that was happening. Remember, you asked him if he goes to the movies, and he got mad about that or something like that. You asked him what the last movie he saw, and he was just like,
No, what he
"I
got
don't
mad at.
watch movies."
Yeah, so I always do the fill in the blank, but it was his second interview with us. And the fill in the blank was very good. He played along. It's the second time I did true or false. And the fifth one was true or false. You have a very healthy balance between work life and personal life. And he just was silent for like 5 seconds. And then he goes, sure. And it was like, we've told the story before. And the SID made us delete it. And there was another question they made us delete too, which I'm not even going to get into because anyway, whatever.
This guy was such a psycho.
Yeah, we had to delete like a third of the interview before we could even play it. Anyway, whatever. You brought up Rasheed Wallace. It reminded me this weekend, I found a YouTube channel and I watched the Ohi Steel game beginning to end, 2 hours. And I watched Maryland upset North Carolina when they were Maryland, North Carolina was 1. I think Maryland was 10. It was Joe Smith, Keith Booth, sophomore year, Johnny, Dwayne, and X were juniors, and they upset, not that much of an upset, number 10 versus number 1 at home, but they beat them at home.
And that was like the Vince Carter, Antoine Williams.
No, it was Rasheed Wallace and Jerry Stackhouse.
Oh, okay, that was before that.
And Dante Calabria and Jeff McInnes and Serge Zwicker. I'm trying to remember all the guys.
Zwicker.
Yes, I know. It brought back a lot of memories. But those were golden era. And let me just say, watching those, the crowd then compared to the crowd now, and I know it's going to sound like this is old guy back in my day, but the fervor, the passion mixed with vitriol, it's nothing like that anymore. Like the fans were on the verge of riot the entire game. It's packed. People could not get in. They're screaming. They're yelling. The other teams, they had to be completely